Hello, I'm Uriya, and I'm here from the Uriya Tar Pits and Natural History Museum. I have brought you here today in our mobile museum to Hancock Park, which is the site of the Uriya Tar Pits. Before we begin, I just wanted to point out that in this exhibit space, we do not have bathrooms and we do not have food or beverages allowed. So if you get thirsty or hungry or you have to use the restroom, feel free to ask an adult and we'll make sure that we get those needs taken care of. Today, I'm going to show you how the discoveries found right here in the La Brea Tar Pits tell us about how animals in the past lived. Our scientists, called paleontologists, use a special kind of evidence to understand and imagine what the past in Los Angeles might have looked like. Anyone heard the word paleontology or paleontologist before? Paleontologists are the scientists that study life in the past. Tens of thousands of years ago, even millions of years ago. Paleontologists use a special kind of evidence that's found right here at the La Brea Tar Pits to understand what animals in the past lived like. That evidence is called fossils. Fossils are any preserved evidence of life in the past. That could be bones, it could be footprints, it could be plants, it could even be poop. That's right, our scientists use poop, which we call dung, that's been fossilized or preserved to understand what the animals that lived during the Ice Age ate when they were alive. Today, we're going to look at the fossils of some animals that were alive during the last Ice Age that lived right here in Hancock Park. But first, we have to tell you how we got the fossils in the first place and how our scientists find them. Would you like to go back in time to see exactly how these Ice Age animals were living? Welcome! We have now entered Ice Age Hancock Park. Take a moment and listen to the sounds of the Ice Age. That was a mammoth that just made its voice. So while we listen to the sounds of the Ice Age, let's kind of look at some of the sites of Hancock Park during the Ice Age. If you look up here, we see how this place got its name. This sticky pool of tar that I'm standing in, but I won't get stuck, is a tar pit that's actually been here for thousands and thousands of years. Just below my feet is a big black pool of sticky tar. And behind us, we have a big lake full of tar. These lakes can sometimes be confused by big animals like the mammoth here as a lake of water. They'd come to it thinking they were going to get a sip, and unfortunately they would get stuck in the tar. Then, a little bit down the line, a dire wolf or a saber-toothed cat might come and think, this mammoth's out in the open just staying still. It's the easiest dinner I could ever have. And unintentionally get stuck themselves in the tar. This would happen every few thousand years. This is called an entrapment event. Entrapment events basically just were a bunch of animals stuck together in the tar. After our mammoth would wade into the sticky tar, and our dire wolves and our saber-toothed cats also maybe got stuck in the sticky tar, after a while, they would all die because they didn't have access to food or water. Thousands of years later, our lucky scientists here at the La Brea Tar Pits get to find these fossils in the tar, preserve them, and learn about the animals that lived right here in Los Angeles thousands of years ago during our last Ice Age. Do you want to look at some fossils today? Our paleontologists are able to use fossils just like this to learn about the eating habits of animals like the giant sloth or the saber-toothed cat. So these fossils I have here belong to a saber-toothed cat. You may have heard saber-toothed tiger, it's actually saber-toothed cat. These tell us a little something about how this animal might have eaten. What do you think an animal would use big sharp teeth like this to eat? Do we think that this animal might eat plants mostly or might eat animals mostly? Yeah, and what do we see that makes us say that this animal might eat animals mostly? These big sharp teeth, that might be really useful if you're trying to hunt an animal and you need to catch it in your mouth. These are going to help to do that. Now let's look at a different animal and compare its teeth. Here we have the jaw and a tooth from a giant sloth. These 1,200-pound sloths used to walk right around here in Los Angeles. Now, looking at their teeth compared to those saber teeth, how do we think these animals ate? These teeth can tell us about what the giant sloth ate. So if you look at these flat tops and you compare those to the very sharp teeth of that saber-toothed cat, especially that big saber tooth, then we can tell that this animal probably didn't have to attack an animal or worrying about killing an animal. Instead, needed teeth that would be really good for grinding up leaves and twigs. Our paleontologists are able to figure this kind of thing out by making close observations about the fossils. And when you compare fossils like this to fossils of eating animals like the saber-toothed cat that we just looked at, then we can tell that these teeth probably didn't have the same purpose. They would have been used for grinding up leaves and twigs, probably a lot to feed a 1,200-pound animal, right? Just like that, y'all have all done paleontology today. Okay, my friends, unfortunately our time is coming to an end. But before we finish, I have a question for you all. Who here learned about a new animal today? We know these animals walked through Hancock Park tens of thousands of years ago because we see their fossil evidence in the La Brea tar pits. So our paleontologists are constantly uncovering new animals and learning a little bit more about how this place looked all those years ago. Awesome! So while a lot of the animals that we find in the La Brea tar pits tell us about extinct animals like that big mammoth or the giant sloth or the saber-toothed cat, we also learn about animals that live in LA right now. Think of the last time you saw a raccoon or a squirrel, maybe a crow, or even a coyote. These animals you see around Los Angeles now have been in LA for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. And how do we know that? Well, we find their fossil evidence right in the La Brea tar pits in that sticky tar. So the next time that you see a raccoon or a crow or a raven, a squirrel, or hear or see a coyote, you can remember that you're a lot more connected to the La Brea tar pits than you thought. Hopefully, we can get some of y'all to come and visit us at the La Brea tar pits and see these pits live and in action. But just remember, you don't want to get stuck, so don't step in them.